Yeah.
The Bikeriders. I just picked this on a whim. I was like, oh, I like Tom Hardy. Austin Butler is pretty good. You know, he's definitely not Bill Skarsgård. You're an idiot if you think he's Bill Skarsgård. And if there was anyone on the panel right now who thinks that's Bill Skarsgård, I'll kick him right
Tony,
off.
Listen, Tony, listen, you piece of shit. I never thought it was Bill Skarsgård in this movie.
Oh,
I thought Bill Skarsgård was in Dune Part 2 and he's all white and he's bald. And he has that creepy smile. You can kind of see it. Look at Austin Butler right there and tell me you couldn't see him as a white albino alien dude in Part 2.
I guess so. But no, I like the cast. I have no idea who Jodie Comer is.
Jodie Comer? She's great. She was in the Last Duel. Did you ever see that one?
I didn't see that one.
That was all right. He said, she said, kind of it takes it from three different vantage points. The two guys that are dueling, Matt Damon and Adam Driver, and then this Jodie character here.
Yeah.
It's a fine watch.
She's fucking great in this. I didn't know what to expect with this. I was like, you know what? It looks like an old school biker film. Let me check it out. My mom is really into like motorcycle and like motorcycle culture and stuff. So I was like, I basically saw it to be like, maybe my mom will like this. Let me go out and watch it. I like the cast enough.
She loved the 5 minutes of motorcycles in the
movie. Well, you know, it's got my boy Tom Hardy from The Dark Knight Rises. Tom, I call him.
You want to be in a motorcycle club?
Okay, what happened with Tom Hardy the last few years where he's like, I'm just gonna do a wacky voice? It worked for Bane. I haven't heard him use his like actual accent in a film in a million years.
I don't. From what I heard, he can't do American accent, so this is what he goes to. This is the default.
Yeah,
this whiny.
I've seen the Venom films, and his American accent's like, "Oh yeah, you know, hey buddy, Benny, want to ride some motorcycles?" Anyway, so the plot is loosely based off a book. A photographer followed around a biker gang for a few years, photographed them, and recorded them, and he's being told the story from a few of the members, but mostly a girl who ended up marrying the main guy, Austin Butler. She's telling the story with the funniest accent ever. I couldn't get enough of that accent. I kept like talking like her for a day afterwards. I was just obsessed with the accent.
Well, Tony, as someone who's from the Midwest, I was deeply offended by everything that came out of her mouth.
Oh yeah, you're
Don't you know?
You're offended by that accent, Adam? What's wrong with that accent? I thought it was pretty good, you know?
I can't even do the ridiculous accent she did, and I'm from Minnesota.
Sounds just like you. I felt like I was watching this stream. I was like, you started already?
But yeah.
Were you in the Bikeriders, Adam? With a wig on?
I love it's an evolution of just a fun club that turns into an out-of-control violent gang. It reminded me, did you guys ever watch Whitest Kids You Know, the sketch comedy show?
Yeah.
Classic.
There's a great episode where it's like about a cult, and the cult is talking about how weird the cult's gotten, and you find out at the end of the skit that it started as a softball team. That's how I felt about this movie, where it was like, oh, we used to race motorcycles, then we decided to make a riding club, and by the end they're running guns and drugs and they're killing each other. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I think it's the best movie I've seen all year, and I'm sure Adam will agree. Adam, what did you think?
Listen, I watched it and I was like, this is okay. It should have been called The Bikerider's Wife because it's from her vantage point, which is a weird way to kind of sell it to a bunch of mainly, I would imagine, guys and apparently Tony's mom that are going to see this movie. I don't know. I felt like the movie fired up around the halfway mark, and that should have been the first act, but instead it was the middle act. And then when the movie's done, that's when I was actually starting to get interested in the film. So it's really started me out in a bad. I think that first third is rough. It's basically the love story, but she's falling for Austin Butler's character, who's a complete fucking tool in this. He just leans against a bike doing his best James Dean impression. He's just so uninteresting as a character, and when the movie's done, I felt nothing for him at all, except for, man, he's really got nothing going on upstairs, doesn't he? Motorcycles revving, and I guess that's kind of how the writer thinks about motorcycle riders, so it's a little insulting at the end of the day. But
no, I've met some of those guys. I think it's pretty spot on, Adam.
It's pretty on point. Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty on point.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I was expecting something a little bit more exciting, a little bit more action. a little bit more, tough and rumble. But instead, we got Tom Hardy doing this weird.
Hey,
motorcycle club if you want to join
the scenes of Tom Hardy talking to this girl were my favorite because it's just two ridiculous accents clashing.
Yeah, he's doing like a Marlon Brando in this film for some reason. I don't get it. Jody is
great. Because he's obsessed with Marlon Brando. We find out.
Are you serious?
I love
remember
where he's watching the movie.
But he starts the club because he's watching a Marlon Brando movie.
I thought you meant in real life. Like that's
no. I mean, maybe I don't know.
But Jodie is great in this. I do like her ridiculous accent. It's funny. Yeah. It keeps the movie, flowing well. But overall, I thought this was pretty lame. I talked to a guy afterwards, and a buddy of mine, and he freaking hated it. He left after an hour. And when I started talking to him, like, I think I hate this movie now. I'm going to stick with my initial. Where it's a watchable, kind of a messy film.
Yeah. I guess I just didn't know what to expect. Yeah. So I was entertained. Joey, what did you think?
Well, I was stoked to watch it because I actually have my motorcycle license, so this was fucking cool as shit. This was so manly, it kicked ass. I've never seen Sons of Anarchy, so I don't know how this ranks with like motorcycle crime dramas. But Elvis, Jodie, and Tom Hardy, apparently, like Adam, you said the characters fucking sucked. I thought they were pretty convincing. I'm also an airhead, so it doesn't matter.
Let's do it. Let's do a real quick case study. The opening scene, we follow Austin Butler as he burns through a bunch of towns. He runs stoplights. He like endangers some children crossing the road, and then he gets pulled over because he runs out of gas like a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, is this going to lead to like a cool interaction? No. We cut to him at the bar with Tom Hardy, and Tom Hardy's like, how many stoplights did you run? They're saying 7. He sits there like pondering, and I'm like, oh, he's gonna have like a fun quip. If that's what they're saying. And then he just looks at him like, yeah. And all I think is, this isn't edgy or cool. This guy like endangered a bunch of people. He's kind of a prick.
I think that's the point of it. I think it's to be like, hey, the motorcycle, the
manly man. That's just an asshole.
But it's just like, hey, that image of the cool manly guy? Put your arm down. The cool manly guy. Actually, in real life, they're just like fucking burnout losers.
That's what I got from this.
So anyway, Joey C, you said you related to this character a lot.
No, not at all. Let me get smart for a second. I do think the direction of the film like was lacking a bit, like in terms of conflict. It's like hard to explain. Like I feel like this film felt like a character study on the gang itself, or like the lifestyle of motorcycle gangs. It almost felt like thin at the end, if that makes sense. But again, that's just me trying to be smart and like dissect the film. And I just think this fucking movie rocked, and I'm going to go ride my bike after this.
I didn't know you had a motorcycle.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Bring your motorcycle around sometime.
maybe I will.
You
can ride on the back.
We should clarify there legitimately is hardly any motorcycle riding in this film.
I don't think that's true.
They ride out at night one time, and then there's that opening scene. I think that's it.
Well, I mean, in the Watchers, we didn't get a lot of shots of the fairies watching them. We were just being told that they were being watched.
Isn't that like how you build fear? Like, are we supposed to be afraid of the motorcycles? Yeah, it's just like alien.
I don't know if that's one to one, Cody. That'd be like making a Fast and the Furious movie, and they're just kind of like talking about their cars, but they never.
That'd be a great movie. Gil, what is the Bikeriders really about?
I think, Joey, I think that you think you hit on it, where I didn't think it was really a character study of any individual person. It was like, the weird thing about the movie is that it doesn't have like a traditional narrative. It's more like a series of vignettes where it's all these little moments from this motorcycle gang, and it slowly puts together this picture of why are people drawn into this lifestyle? How does this thing you create grow out of control? And that's not at all what I was expecting going in. And at first, I thought it was kind of lazy using the framing structure of her interview, because it kind of lets them just skip around in the story. Mm-hmm. But by the end, that kind of worked for me. It reminded me of, not to sound like really pretentious, but it reminded me of something Stanley Kubrick said, where he was like, I kind of prefer silent films when you used to be able to just do a title card that explains what happened and then just skip ahead 10 years. Now with movies, you have to like find a way to organically insert exposition. And with silent films, you can just skip to the good parts. And I feel like that's what they did with her interview. But I really liked the movie. Like it was a little weird at first, but once I kind of got used to the movie style, I found it fascinating. I was like, why? I mean, this is such a different life than I have. I mean, Joey, maybe it was boring for you at times because you're like, I already know all this. Just
Basically,
masculinity.
he lives it every day.
Yeah.
Put your arm down.
Oh, sorry.
God,
Yeah,
get over this. Until my arm is bigger, you're not allowed to show your arms.
Yep.
Until, what did you say? This time tomorrow, right?
This time tomorrow, I will look like Thor. Okay. Maybe I'll look like the Avengers Endgame Thor. I think that'll be the more realistic one. But yeah, I kind of agree with what you said, Gil. I just think it's a good time. It's very entertaining. I know Adam hated it because it was about a woman, but I will say I think it's the director of Take Shelter, because I did see Michael Shannon in the movie. He was pretty good. Oh, my favorite bike rider was Cockroach, who kept insisting that eating bugs is okay and not that big of a deal. He was my favorite. Take Shelter is a really good movie. I don't know if any of you guys have ever seen that one. Have anyone seen that?
No.
Nope.
Oh man, that's a good one. Where Michael Shannon, he's like, his mom was crazy, so his wife thinks he's going crazy because he keeps predicting there's going to be like a storm. So he's like building a shelter, and now he has to like make sure a storm comes. So he doesn't think he's crazy. It's a good film. It's a really, really good film. If you guys like this, I highly recommend going back and checking that one out. And I recommend everyone watch the Bikeriders because it was really, really good and fun.